In the halls of knowledge, analogic thought will be the new concept that these grades will be based on. Will be the use of comparisons and analogies to further understanding in all classes. It is always wise to compare new concepts to things a student can relate to in real life. When something is compared to an article or situation that a student already is familiar with and understands, it makes understanding of the new concept much easier. The difficulty of trying to understand our universe is that it will seem shallow if we only see it as it is today, without the foundation of the knowledge of the 7 previous universes underneath it supporting it. The same with humans. We must see the foundation laid by the previous 7 chakras, the energy centers, that went into our makeup before understanding our goal of becoming divine human beings. This is the only way we will understand and hear the beautiful melody that is the story of our universe and also our fantastic makeup. The subjects to be taught in the chrysalis schools will show the complicated makeup of the universe and all things in it. These subjects are explained from a scientific viewpoint for the most part. To make them more understandable for all, analogies will be used, such as comparing the universe with the whipped cream salad, the creator's mind with the compact disc, cycles of the universe to a merry-go-round, and so on. It is my sincere hope that these analogies will not offend anyone or lessen the importance of the material to them. Using analogies will give the beautiful melody of our existence to the students rather than just the scientists. At the same time, I hope the scientists will accept what the analogies are trying to do. In the philosophy classes, the concept of reincarnation, which has been introduced from the beginning, will be furthered with the use of analogies. In the future, reincarnation will be the basis of all teaching in philosophy. Health is one area that will be stressed in the new schools much more than it is now. In fact, so little attention is given it in our present school system that the high cost of medical aid can be attributed directly to this lack in schools. The trend is finally starting towards self-help in this area, but it is not starting where it needs to start. The schools are the logical starting point. There will be classes on birth and death. Birth is what it should be called. Birth into the earth plane and birth into the inner planes. The word death should be eliminated from our vocabulary. Here again, an analogy of death to birth can be used because the process is quite similar. These classes should begin in the early grades, and much innovative teaching could be done along these lines. These concepts will be incorporated into health classes. Classes also will be given on the aging process, and the history of aging and the evolution of the planet overall will be studied thoroughly. Without giving analogies for each, I'd like to give 7 new concepts for the physical body and 7 for the mental body. 7 new concepts for the physical body are body processes, sex education, hygiene, nutrition, sports, animals, and parenting classes for children. 7 new concepts for the mental body are brain divided into 4 sections, hourglasses, student teaching, cyclic classes, discipline, testing, and competition. The halls of knowledge are for the 7th grade through the 12th grade with a focus on mental body, accomplished by the new concept called AnalogicThought. I'd like to discuss further the new educational concepts as far as the higher levels in the halls of knowledge go. These will be grades 7 through 12. Peer pressure is a problem for this age group. The strain on teenagers of staying in touch with those of their own age is very strong. It is a natural, normal part of being young that not only can we not eliminate, but do not want to eliminate. These youths need to contact with those of their own age, and their choice of friends is very important to their own growth and progress. Some youth are quite often more highly intelligent than their parents. Once this youth reaches puberty, the teen years, and begins to come into the mental capacity he brought with him, this is when the trouble starts. He sees that he is sharper than his parents and rebels against having to be under the authority of those he is superior to. Some other new concepts are as follows. Students will write their own study courses as they grow. As they become teenagers and enter the halls of knowledge, books will simply be suggestive guidelines. The art of transforming color and harmony into paintings will be taught in all classes in the halls of knowledge. Music and art will enhance philosophical thinking. As far as the performing arts, some students will be above average and will give concerts, as even now this is true, but always in the spirit of love and wanting to help others, not for personal fame or glory. The same with sports. There will be sports as such that will build body strengths. Those more adept will sponsor several younger students and help them progress. In other words, all of humanity will only have the desire to help the rest of humanity, no matter what nationality, age, or sex anyone is. The arts and sports will be constantly improving the lessons learned in the lower grades, with much more individual instruction given in areas where students excel. History and geography will be separated for more updated studies in each. Math will be more and more into computers and programming. The science classes, starting in grade 7, will consist of more lab work, hands-on experimentation as to controlling energy waves, space travel, communication stations, recycling processes, and disintegration of used and outdated products and materials. The arts are, of course, all interwoven with each other, and art as a whole is related to all other divisions: philosophy, math, science, language, history, geography, and health. This is done in the upper level classes as well as in the lower level classes, this integration of arts into all areas. 7th grade philosophy will study the soul, understanding of our seed core. 8th grade will study spirit. 9th grade glamour, its causes and cures. 10th grade studies will be on psychic powers, their use and misuse, and 11th grade will see the overall picture of our spiritual path, from creation to return and beyond. In the 12th grade, the subject to be taught will be the understanding as to why man is important to the overall scheme of the universe. Most do not see the overall plan, so have no idea why man is important. He is an extension of the Creator, but people cannot seem to understand this concept. These philosophy classes are closely related to science and are integrated into science. Math is also integrated into the study of the universe. Language and history geography are closely related. Teens entering these halls of knowledge will need to know that it is part of their divine heritage to seek answers other than what has always been given and accepted by society. In other words, they will need to challenge the system to ever improve the system. The goal of the halls of knowledge is to graduate a student with the equivalent of our 4-year college degree program now at the end of his halls of knowledge days. Then, of course, he will be expected to enter a specialty school of his choice in the halls of wisdom. The human mind has 12 different levels of function, different energy wave rates, and of these, only 3 are being used by most people. This is why it is said that we are only using 15 to 20, maybe even 25% of our brains. If you were to use the highest level you are capable of, you would be able to travel in your physical body without transportation. Yes, in other words, fly through the air with no means of propulsion except your mind. People may make jokes about being a bird brain, but birds operate on this level of energy waves when flying. They are capable of only 2 levels, and this level is second nature to them. The other level is just under that level and allows for balance on those 2 spindly legs so they can walk on the ground. Walking on the ground is harder for them than flying. The higher mind can be reached and entered into as easily as taking off or putting on a hat with some practice. Some people wear a hat at all times, others never do. It is slipping into the 4th level of the mind. There are several levels of the mind that are very easily entered, but the higher the level, the more difficult and blocked entry into them is. Knowing they are there and consciously thinking of them helps differentiate between them and makes conscious entry into them possible. The 1st level is just human survival instinct. The 2nd is our sleep state. The 3rd is the use of our everyday mind, thinking and reasoning. The 4th level is the higher mind. The 5th level will take humanity one step further in the next dimension. The 4th level is prerequisite for the 4th dimension, the 5th level for the 5th dimension, and so on. It is a natural progression of evolution. If these higher levels could be reached at this time, many mind power feats could be accomplished. There are some people capable of reaching these higher levels for short periods of time, but the energy drain is so great that they cannot be sustained for too long a time. Those accomplished in martial arts know that it is an instantaneous spurt of power that cannot as yet be sustained past the length of time to accomplish a blow, and they also know of the feeling of tiredness that hits afterwards. Olympic athletes experience the same after effects because they are performing on the 4th level at all times, with spurts of the 5th, and in some, even the 6th level comes in for milliseconds. The performances of concert artists are in the same category, only on the 5th and 6th levels at all times. These are all in the second section of our four-part brain, the lower right, which is the realm of the emotional body. A genius in any field is working totally on the 7th level of the mind, which is the third section, the upper left, the realm of the mental body. If one can be taught to enter these levels, then one can perform skills and talents they are unaware they possess. Fear will catapult people into the same level as martial arts performance takes and enable them to do things they couldn't do otherwise, such as lift a car off of someone it has fallen on. To help reach these higher levels, music is excellent because it sharpens the animal-based brain part of you, and this will then begin tying in with the higher realms, first through your higher mind. How in the world can people think we will ever be able to use the full potential built into our brain at creation, both esoterically and exoterically, spiritual evolution and physical evolution, if we never take quantum leaps out into space, in other words, jump off the deep end into unknown territory, if only by wondering and daydreaming? This is how other kingdoms are formed, is by opening of other brain cells than the ones already in use. This has been the job, if you will, of prophets, philosophers, and religious leaders down through the ages to help humanity inch open the membranes, separating the cells of the brain into clusters. I wanted to present the previous information just to give you an idea of what a powerhouse is built into each entity to allow layered thought to take place. Of course, the better conditions all parts of your body is kept in, the more possible it becomes to enter these levels. The halls of wisdom are for age 18 through age 20 with the focus on the spiritual body, accomplished by the new concept called layered thought. The specialty schools for the halls of wisdom are teachers, nutrition, sea stations, science, energy waves, cyclic science, and music and color. I would like to give you a look at how the halls of wisdom will go about educating someone in a specialized field by using layered thought. The following is the outline or layout for all professions in these halls of wisdom. Because I'm a musician, I'm going to use number 7, music, as an analogy. We'll say that you want to learn all you can about music and music performance. You will have 12 different divisions to progress through, and there will be 12 levels in each of these divisions as follows. The first division. You will progress through this division one level at a time, learning to read music. The first level would be note names on lines and spaces. In the second level, you will learn rhythm. The third level will explain basic music symbols. The fourth level will teach the theory of scales and chords. The fifth level will lead you into learning Italian terms that are used for musical expression. You will continue through level 12, learning composers, history of musical styles, music appreciation, and so on. By the time you're through this division, you will be very rounded on every aspect of music. The next division, the second, you will attend is that of various kinds of music, their structures, and their roots. The third division is that of learning about choral and orchestral music, composition, performance, and a director's interpretation of this music. The fourth division, you will learn the application of reading music to 12 different instruments, starting with keyboard, strings, wind, percussion, and so on. Plus, you will learn the special qualities and ranges of the different vocal divisions. In the fifth division, you will have an overview of pulling together all you have learned in the 4 previous divisions into one glorious orchestral composition. The sixth division, you will compose solos for different varieties of instruments and all categories of voices. You will plan a project that is made up of your most intense interests out of everything you have learned so far. In the 7th division, you will be doing an individually applied project of learning to teach those just starting into the 1st division and all the other divisions you have been through. Here you will also have a chance to apply your own special project that you learned in the previous division. In the 8th division, you will have an opportunity to review and either keep or discard things you have learned and ideas that you have had that no longer seem to be conceived of your best efforts. In the 9th division, you will plan the rest of your educational progress in the divisions left for you to complete, the 10th, 11th, and 12th divisions. Say, for instance, your special project conceived of in the 6th division was that of applying music theory to building bridges and buildings. You will focus on just this one project to perfect your theory of using music as the ultimate building tool. In the 10th division, you will have a chance to apply what you came up with in the 9th division as far as making your project work. You will be able to make your changes and experiment with the results. In the 11th division, your project is studied by all members of this division, and it will be determined whether or not it is a well-balanced, useful project. In the 12th division, if your project needs to be changed, the final changes will be made. It will again be judged by all members of the division, and final approval will be given it as a work of the quality that is needed for it to be allowed a permanent place in the world of music. After completing the Halls of Wisdom, one will enter the area that appeals most and will be encouraged to change areas several times after that by returning to a specialty school. At any time an individual wants to return to one of the special schools and learn another field, he will be encouraged to do so. This will prevent burnout, so common today when one is stuck for his whole life in one field of endeavor. Change off of duties should be mandatory, even if an individual stays in the same field. The total complete project, so to speak, of the halls of training, learning, knowledge, and wisdom will be an entity so educated that he presents a composite knowledge of all aspects of all subjects. The overall picture of education will be a totally different concept than we have now.